Hello, diasporans and Kenyans at large. This is a continuation of the visa project that I've been discussing and watching closely about how it goes. This section is about those of us who get issued visas to come to America, but they ended up making some mistakes when they get at the port of entry. I've personally seen cases of the people I knew or acquaintances who never made it to the US after they got their visa. And I think this has to do with the way we operate. We have this behavior in Kenya whereby when you get a visa, you want to try to hide it. And when you hide it from people, by fearing maybe someone may be a prophet of doom, and if people know, your travel may backfire. But we end up losing a lot of useful information that can help us to get here, because being granted a visa and being allowed into the US are two different things. Visa is just a gateway for you to get to the US, but when you get here, then you have to prove that you have a legitimate reason to come to the US. And this usually happens to visitors visa, because in other cases of I-20, which will be, in this case will be for students, or green card holders who've won Rotary, they're usually given an envelope that's already sealed, and they advise at the embassy not to open that envelope until they get at the port of entry. In that case, they'll go ahead and submit that letter or that folder to the inviting immigration officer at the port of entry. But if you're a visitor, then you have to have additional documentation to show why you need to be allowed in. So I've had cases of people who had some invitations, maybe for a wedding or for a conference, but when they got here, they delayed, or something inevitable happened, and the dates of the convention, it has expired. If you happen to have an expired invitation and you land in the US, you'll be deported, you'll be taken back, because there's no reason for you to be allowed in. You're a visitor anyway, so you're coming here for a purpose, and your purpose is not valid anymore, then they will not allow you in. Or let's say, for instance, you missed some basic information about the location of your convention, or who is hosting you, or the address that you're going to be living in. So you must have the documentation, say that you're going to be living in a hotel, so you must have reservation information about where you'll be staying. Or if you'll be staying with a family, make sure that information, their phone number and the address is ready to submit. I've also heard of cases of people who changed the reasons why they come they applied for a visa. You apply for this visa, then you stay for a long time, because the visa is valid for a period of time before you leave the country. And upon coming back here, they are like, okay, the reasons change. Maybe the graduation is expired, but you feel that you can still, because if the visa is valid for about 5 years, you feel like you can still use that visa to come up here. But when you come up here and you had initially indicated that you are coming for graduation, but maybe for some reason that changed, and you don't have a very good reason to come again to the US, then you'll not be allowed in, or you'll be taken back. I've also had cases of people who came up here and they had missed some information. Let's say, and I know this happened one time when these were old folks who are coming to the US, and they had been invited to come here to the city of Houston, which would be in Texas. But for some reason, when they were buying the ticket, because of the secrecy that goes into the visa things in Kenya, they bought a ticket to go to Boston. That would be in Massachusetts. So they landed in Boston, and they were like, the invitation said they were coming to Texas, and they couldn't explain why they landed in Boston, and they didn't have a connection flight to Houston, so they were held back, and I had to personally intervene to get them out of the immigration hands, because I was involved in that operation. So these are the kind of things that happen quite a bit. Or someone who had come here for a job, but they had to come to show for what kind of a job they were. Let's say, for instance, you're invited, you say you're coming here to be a chef. you better know what kind of chef you are. If you're not trained in it, are you an Italian chef? Are you a Chinese cuisine chef? If you're a Kikuyu chef, you must know some recipes that you can use, because those guys are trained. They have your file before you get here, so they can ask you questions. If you're not truthful, or you're not telling the real reasons why you're coming, you can find yourself in very big problems. So one thing to get a visa is hard enough. Then not to prepare to come and present yourself at the port of entry is a problem. And this is an area that many people don't discuss, because it's very humiliating to land in the US and you're put back on the next plane to go back to Kenya. So, and it can have very futuristic impact, because once you leave Kenya, some of us even give out our clothes, we even vacate our places, and now you are coming back to restart again. So that personality dent can have very, very major impact on the people, and it can lead to depression. So just a nugget of how we should approach things, and not even when we are secret about why we are traveling, or when you are traveling, go ahead and seek some information. Talk to people so you may be knowledgeable for you to be able to get into the US. Thank you so much. David Macharia here, Diaspora Investor Hub, still giving you information about how we should be streamlining operations that affect all of us. Asanteni.